Hello and welcome to the Art of Decluttering podcast. It's Amy here. I'm your host and the owner of the Art of Decluttering. I don't know, I think we're up to let me tell you how many episodes we're up to. I think it's about, I can't even tell you, 380 maybe? Can someone tell me how many podcast episodes we're up to? Because clearly I have lost count. What I want to share with you today, it's a bit of a shorter episode, but I want to talk to you about a concept that I came up with maybe 6 or 7 years ago that has really changed the way that our family runs, and I've been able to implement it into hundreds of clients' homes. And it's the concept of a returns box. And so you may have heard me talk about this in the past, but I thought it would be really cool just to have one specific episode that I can direct you to and that you can go back to and listen to when you're thinking about how do you remember to get things out of your house that don't belong in your house anymore. And so the concept of this has been integrated into lots of areas of the art of decluttering. So I often talk about the 5 R's of decluttering. And so this is a systematic way of decluttering any space. So we talk about rubbish, which is rubbish and recycling and landfill and anything that doesn't have life left in it for its current form. And then we talk about items that you need to rehome. So it's something in the house, but it just doesn't belong where it is at the moment. So it might be a drink bottle in a kid's bedroom or a coffee mug in the office. So it's whatever things you're not getting rid of, they just need to go back to where they belong. The 3rd R is return, and that's items that need to go back to somebody else. So they're not actually yours. You don't own them. You don't need to make a decision of whether to keep them or let them go. But what you actually need to do is return them to either a person or a shop or an institution. They need to go back. The 4th R is repurpose, and that's items that still have life left in them, but you don't need to live that life out. So it might be a bike that you're not going to ride that you're going to donate. It might be a top that you don't really like anymore, but someone else can wear. It might be a DVD player that you don't watch DVDs anymore, but someone else might. And the 5th R is remain. That's what remains. What are you keeping? And then you get to organize that. So today I really want to talk specifically around return. So it's the middle R. And the idea of return is it's things that someone might have left at your house. It's items that you might need to return to a shop. So you might have bought something, but it's the wrong size or it's faulty and you need to return it. It might be items that need to go to the post office. So you might have bought someone a present and you need to post it off, or you need to send something to someone. And it might be just things people have left at your house. So a kid came over and they left a jumper. And so it might literally just be, there's something that needs to go in there and the returns box is where that goes. So it's very different to a doom box that we talked about a few weeks ago. A doom box is items that you haven't made decisions on yet. The returns box is a box of items that have been delegated to the realm of return. It might be a library book. It might be a casserole dish that you need to return to a friend. And so the idea of the returns box is instead of when you identify something, you think, I've got to take that back to this person, instead of just like pushing it somewhere. So some people might put it on the kitchen table, on the end of the bench, in the back seat of the car. There's a whole lot of places that might go, and it may just kind of get taken back into the inventory of your house. So if it's a casserole dish, somebody else might walk along and go, that casserole dish needs to belong in the cupboard, and it goes back in the cupboard, and you kind of just forget about it because out of sight, out of mind. The concept of the returns box is that you have one solitary place where anything that needs to be returned goes. And as soon as it goes there, you don't have to think about it again until you have opportunity to return it. And because it's in one place, the beauty of that is you can develop a habit around checking that box before you go out. So I'll tell you about my returns box in a minute, but the concept is you don't have to remember every single thing that you need to return to someone, but rather all you have to do is when you're going out of the house is check the returns box in case there's anything that you can do from in there while you're going out. And so it takes it from being chaotic and, kept in all different places and easily forgettable. The returns box means that you're less likely to forget. Everything's kept in the same place. Everyone in the family understands where it is. You know what the purpose is. And as you'll hear in a minute, other people can use your returns box confidently and easily as well. So we're going to take a super quick break, and I'm going to come back to you and share how it works in my family. We don't have a garage in our house or storage or a carport or anything like that. But what we do have is what we think used to be a front porch, probably. It's maybe 2.5 meters wide, and the length of the porch, I don't know how many meters long. Maybe it's 5 or 6 meters long. And it's just kind of an ante-room. So what we've used the ante-room for is half of it has become my office. So my office just sits in that front little space in the house. I can almost touch the front door from where I sit. I can see out. I can see everything happening. But it's not a room in and of itself. There's no door. There's no segregation. It's just a space. And the other half of it we've set up as kind of a mudroom. So there's storage, we put our shoes there, we hang our bags there, the vacuum cleaner lives there, donations live there. So it's just kind of a space. It's where the keys and the wallets and the sunglasses and the hand sanitizer and all of those kind of functional in and out of the house things go. What we have implemented with our returns box is we have it's cube shelving. We have one cube with a pull-out drawer, and that's our returns box. And so what I might do is I'm actually going to pause the recording and go and get the returns box so that I can tell you exactly what's in there. But the idea is, as I said, everything that needs to leave the house for any reason goes into the returns box. And we're just really, really good at being in the habit of checking it now. It's literally right next to the door, so it's not like we have to go back into the house to check. It's there, we check it, we take anything out, we action what we need to, and then we're able to confidently know that if someone says, oh, did I leave this at your house? We check the returns box. So I'm going to go grab it, and then I'm going to go through it with you. Alrighty, I'm back with my returns box in front of me, and I'm going to go through it with you. What I do want to say as well, and again, a lot of this I've spoken about in lots of different episodes of the podcast, but one of the things my family now does if they pop over is they check the returns box before they leave as well. So it just makes it super easy. They can grab what they need, and I know what's in there as well. So the first thing I've got in here is a pack of coat hangers. And the reason they're in there is because they need to be returned to Kmart. Cal went and bought some for me recently, and he bought 3 packets like I asked him to, but I actually only needed 2. And what I've done is they're pant coat hangers, and they've got clips on them. So the receipt is actually clipped onto the coat hangers themselves, so that when it's time to return them, we don't have to go hunting for the receipt. So that's in the returns box. The next thing that's in here is some green bags that a friend bought some lemons over. So they came over for dinner, they bought some lemons, and they had them in some green bags, but they left the bags here. And I wasn't sure if they needed the bags back. And so what I've done is I've popped them in the returns box. And I know they're there, so when they come next, I'm like, oh, these are your green bags. And if they say, oh, sorry, I forgot to say we didn't need them, I can just take them to the op shop, right? So it's a really simple, we've also got an op shop box. So next to the returns box is an op shop box. And if there's something that needs to be transferred from one to the other, it takes all of about half a second. The next thing in here, I'll see if you can, is a box of Lego. So that box of Lego, I recently, when the kids were little, we had a gift box, which was basically, when you go to Target and Lego's on sale or books are on sale, and you've got like 10 9-year-old birthdays that you're going to go to that year. And so we would buy stuff in bulk. And then, one year everyone would get a board game, and the next year people would get Lego. Recently I went, actually, we don't have little kids' parties anymore, not even cousins of that age. And so we decided to get rid of the gift box completely. And all that was left in it was this one pack of Lego. And a young girl that we know is about to turn 10 soon. And so I know that that's going to be a gift for her. So I've put it in the returns box because it's not something that I would remember if I left it in the gift box. And I know that when we see her next, I can give it to her for her birthday. Okay, the next thing in the returns box is a book, and it's the Barefoot Kids book by Scott Pape. I bought 3 of these when he released the kids version, the Barefoot Kids, and I've given away 2 of them. My kids are a little bit too old for the barefoot kids. So what I've done is I've put it in there so that I can give it away to someone. Now, in this instance, I don't know who I'm giving it away to yet. But what I figure is if it's in the returns box, I'm seeing it every couple of days. And so I'm sure there will be a stage where I'm talking about the book with someone, or I'm talking about barefoot, I'm talking about Scott to someone, and I go, oh, actually, do your kids have this book? And I can give it to them. So it's not, it's not technically a return, it's a giveaway, but I want to give it to someone specifically. Okay, the next thing I've got is a high school sports outfit for the volleyball team. So my kids used to be in the volleyball team, and you'd have your uniform for the volleyball team, and they don't play it anymore. And so I thought, do you know what I'll do? I'll take them to the school and I'll donate them to the school, because I'm sure that there's times when kids forget their uniforms or they need an extra uniform for a competition. And so I've got 2 T-shirts and let me have a look, and 2 pairs of shorts. And so that's easy one. That's going to go to school. So I actually might even keep that on my desk and drop it off tomorrow when I take the kids to school. The next thing I've got in here, this one is interesting. This is a plain white dinner plate. I feel like I should be recording this so you can see as I'm holding it up. But it's a plain white dinner plate. Somebody at some stage has come to my house and bought something on this plain white dinner plate, and I have no idea who it was. So what I've done is I've put it in the returns box because I know it's not mine. And so when we have people over, I will often say, hey, any chance you left a white plate here at some stage? Or I'll show them and go, does this match what you've got? And I am sure at some stage someone will say, oh my goodness, yes, that's my plate. I've been looking for that. And if it sits there for, maybe a year, I'll probably just move it over to the donate box, because it's a perfectly fine plain white plate that does not match what I have. So that's what's sitting in there. I'm going digging. Oh, I forgot this was in here actually. This is the same friend who bought the lemons and has those green bags, but it's a dog jumper. And they just left it at our house when they came over. So I'm actually going to put that in the green bag so that when they come, I don't think, oh my goodness, I have to return the green bags and forget the dog jumper. And so that's the last thing that I've got in my returns box. And sometimes it will have library books in it. Sometimes it will have more of the hanger return to Kmart type things where I'm thinking, oh, I've got to take that back to a shop, or that didn't fit. But can you see how there's not an extraordinarily large quantity of things? I'm going to put them back in so I'm sitting at a bit better of an angle here. I don't have a lot in there, but things move through there pretty quickly. And it's also great that you can go through, like I have now, and going, oh yeah, that can go to school tomorrow. And it can kind of trigger you to remember things. So wherever it sits, maybe you literally need to put it, a basket by the side of the door. Maybe it needs to sit in your living room under the coffee table. Maybe it's in your garage. Maybe you do want to put it in the boot of your car. The difference between the returns box and, say, passing on clothes to a friend is if you're passing on a big thing of clothes to a friend, you're more likely to text them and say, hey, I've got this. When you're home, I'll drop it off. Or next time you're driving past, pick it up. Whereas the returns box is often incidental. And so it's like, oh, I've got to remember to. And so you put it in the returns box. But you can use your returns box however you like. You might have a little list on your phone of what the things are so you can check that. You might, really encourage friends and family to be checking it when they come and go so that they're taking their things that they've forgotten. I hope that whatever you choose to do with a returns box, that it's a concept that is helpful for you. I hope that it's a concept that might change some of the clutter in your house, help you be more intentional. I will wait and hear from you. Make sure you come into the community on Facebook and tell me if it's a helpful thing. Maybe take a photo and show me what yours looks like. I would love to see it. And this week, I would love to encourage you, if you drive a red car, for you to leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It really encourages me when I get to read them, and it also helps new listeners to find the podcast, and it helps me to grow my business and support my team who are out seeing clients. I would like to acknowledge the Wurundjeri people who are the traditional custodians of the land this podcast is recorded on. I would also like to pay respects to their elders, both past and present, of the Kulin Nation, and extend that respect to other Indigenous Australians. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed today's episode, I would love you to rate and review the show on your podcast app. That will help others to find the Art of Decluttering podcast as well. If you'd like any more information, you can visit theartofdecluttering.com.au. And I would love to see you in my Facebook group. Just search the Art of Decluttering community on Facebook and join today. I hope that you have an incredible rest of your day and enjoy the freedom.